afternoon I went and saw The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and as I was watching it I was just remembering all the photographs from my trip and how amazing of a time I had, how much I really miss travelling. There's this one scene in the movie where he just looks out over this, this valley in Iceland, and you just see the little houses down the bottom and you see all the mountains in the background. And I can just remember standing in Switzerland, in Grindelwald, at like the train station. I wasn't standing anywhere important, I was just standing at the train station looking out over this place that was just like mind-blowing, and getting to see like snow-capped mountains and the blue of the sky, and just wanting to be there all the time. Like I remember going up Jungfrau, which is the top of Europe, what they call it, and just like I was on this train for like an hour and a half, and it was just going up and up and up, because it's like a cog railway, so it it's got like gears that clip onto the thing and it pulls up one by one. That's what this is. And I was amazed by the actual train itself, because I'm a little bit of a fan of things like that. But I was also so amazed by just the scenery, and like I don't even know if there are words to describe how beautiful the rest of the world is. Like I walk outside in Sydney and I'm like, oh, that's a really lovely place, that's a pretty tree, but it's stuff that I see every day. And even when I go into the city and I see all the touristy spots, or I go to the beach, like people come to Sydney just to go to Bondi. I've lived in Sydney for how old was I when we moved? 13, so 27, so 13 years. 13, almost 14 years. I've never been to Bondi Beach. I've never climbed the Sydney Harbour Bridge. I can't even remember having a photo taken in front of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Like, there are things that people come to Sydney to see that I'm not that interested in going to, because I get to see them all the time, and it's just a normal thing for me, except for Bondi Beach. Like, I haven't been there, but I've been to almost every other one in Sydney. But when I think about when I go overseas, and like especially in Switzerland, when I was looking up at these things, there are people here who see this every day, and who just get to look at this view when they wake up in the morning. And that was such an amazing thing for me to think when I was watching this movie. Like I was thinking about the photographer who's played by Sean Penn, whose name just escapes me right now, and how he just went from place to place and just took photos of things. He lived off his paychecks, and he got places however he could, through the kindness of people just dropping him somewhere or whatever. And I just thought, oh my god, like, that's just such an amazing experience to have. And having Walter, who's the protagonist, just suddenly go, you know what, I'm going to go overseas, I'm just going to do it, was such an amazing thing too, because I just wanted, like, that's the kind of thing I wish I could do. And while he was worried about the money, he knew it was such an important experience for him to have. And that is all I can think about when I think about the places that I went and the people that I met. And right now, every time I look up, I'm looking at photographs of me in front of the most amazing places in the world. Like right now, I can see me in the Swiss Alps, and me in the Colosseum in Rome, and me against the Berlin Wall, and me in front of Buckingham Palace, me at Oktoberfest, me in Austria, me in a gondola with two of my friends. Like, I look over here and it's me in Cinque Terre, and me again in the Swiss Alps, like, I think I just, if I didn't have university and I didn't live without my parents, I think that I would be more willing to just pick up and go. You know, like if all I had was just a job that I didn't really care about. But I'm working towards something that I love. And I'm working towards doing something with my life that I'm going to love for the rest of my life. And something that may even enable me to go and live a life similar to this. Just to travel around the world and write about the places that I see and the places that I go. And the amazing people that I meet. Because I think that is one of the most important things about travelling. Like, you go and see these beautiful places, but the people you meet are 10 times more important, you know? They're the people who help you on your way. Like, in this movie, there's this man on the boat in Greenland at that point. And he just goes, oh, I'll find you some warm clothing, and here's some food, and I'll help you get to this place, and thanks so much for the time, and can we be friends on Facebook so that we can talk more? That is the kind of people that you meet when you're overseas. They always want to be a part of what you're doing. And as I'm talking about this, I'm kind of getting a little bit sad that I'm not around my friend Tessa all the time, who's someone that I met overseas, and she's in these photos. And she lives in New Zealand, and she's coming to visit me in about a month. And I cannot contain my excitement about how much, I want to see her. When I was there and when I was with her, she drove me fucking mental. Sorry about the swearing. But the first couple of days that I met her, I didn't want her to be around me at all. I wanted her to go away. But at that point, I wasn't really used to travelling with people. I didn't really have that. I was always kind of... I'd always been alone up until Tessa came along. I'd made friends along the way and I'd had days with them and stuff, but I didn't really stick with one person. But then, when Tessa left me and she moved on and I went somewhere different, it was one of the most horrible things ever. All I wanted was for Tessa to come back and annoy me all the time. And I cannot wait for her to be here and for me to show her the beautiful places that I know. I'm going to take her into the city, and I'm going to take photos of her and I in front of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and I'm going to take photos of her and I at Bondi Beach, and I'm going to take her to, Wet n Wild, because she'll love that. And I'm going to show her my favourite places, and I'm going to show her the tourist places, and it's going to be like we're travelling where I live together. And I think that will be amazing. And I cannot wait to kind of have that sort of experience again, even though it's not going to be the same. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that with me. I know the lighting is horrible. I have moved a lamp just here to try and get some light, but there's no power points on that wall. So I can't really get any light that comes down on me, and this just lights up behind me. Blech. But I've tried my best, I'm sorry. Wow, I'm going to do more like this. I think I like this better. This is fun. Talking about shit that I love. Bye!